Welcome to Slayerfest 98. I'm your host, Ian Carlos Crawford, and joining me as her second time co-hosting, we have blogger, PhD student, and extreme Marvel stan.
Ashley K. Smalls.
Hi, Ashley.
Hi, how are you doing again?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm okay.
Did you get your Multiverse of Madness tickets yet?
I did, because I am who I am as a person.
I figured, yeah.
And it wasn't as bad as No Way Home. No Way Home was something else. That was absolutely ridiculous. Fandango, don't you ever let something like that happen again.
Me and my two friends that I see it with, we keep looking, and the suburbs of Jersey are usually fine. And the shows are still up there, so we haven't decided when we're going. But usually it's only the first one sells out. But No Way Home, it was.
No Way Home was ridiculous. Yeah. I'm in my tiny college town. Nobody goes anywhere here, and that was sold out here. No, that was don't. I almost miss Andrew Garfield. That's crazy. But we have our guest. We have writer, comedian, and actor.
Gabe, say your name.
Oh, hi, Gabe González.
Gabe, you've been on a bunch.
I know. I always miss the cue. I'm just I'm really bad at. Hi, it's me. Surprise.
Hi, Gabe.
And we also have Spider-Man author
Preeti Chhibber. Hi, I'm so glad you went first because I forgot too.
I'm clearly bad at re-prepping all of you. I'm just they know they've been on a zillion times.
Well, we both have such extensive resumes. We just weren't sure when you were done.
Right. So we are here to talk episode 2 of Moon Knight.
Yes.
Before we get into it, everyone, Ashley, what did you think overall of the episode?
I overall liked it. I think if, for people who listened in last week, I was I enjoyed the first episode too, but was really nervous about what direction they were going. How are they going to do this? Second episode definitely has me feeling a lot more confident about the series overall. So yeah, I'll leave it at that for right now.
Gabe?
Yeah, I felt the same way. I think the first episode was interesting, particularly because, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is the first MCU Disney Plus show that isn't anchored in a legacy character or a character we've seen before. So I think one felt very new and disorienting. It's taking a lot of new turns and we're in a new world with new characters. But I think 2 really kind of solidified some of the themes we'll see. And there are a couple of shots in particular I was very pleased with. So we'll talk about those. But this was a lovely and encouraging episode for me.
Cool. Preeti?
Yeah, I loved it. I agree with what everyone is saying. I think it's something that feels truly exciting, which is nice from not that we haven't gotten exciting, but this is the closest to sort of WandaVision that I feel that we've gotten. So I really, really dug this episode.
I think I would have said maybe Loki was kind of close, but in the start of the show, but not.
Yes.
Yeah. But then, I didn't love the way it ended. But yeah, I definitely was glad we picked it up. Because he doesn't actually put the suit on. It still is the last 20 minutes. And I was worried. I was are we not going to get Moon Knight in this episode? Come on. Because I think a lot about, and me and Ashley, we talked about this in the first episode, right? Daredevil, I love that show, but I hated that we took till the end of the first season for him to become capital D Daredevil, with the costume. And I get a little annoyed with superhero stuff that does that, where it's the whole end of it, almost like Falcon and Winter Soldier. He doesn't get the shield till the very end, and it's come on, that's what we were waiting for the whole time. I don't want to a whole thing to be an origin. Just give me an origin in the first episode and then go into it. But yeah, this episode, I don't know, and the fight scenes were pretty cool. Yeah, no, and I liked it. So okay. So the episode starts with he wakes up again, chained to his bed, which made me think, did I put on the first episode again by accident? I actually checked. And so he goes into work, finds out the museum is closed. I was wait a minute, but why is he talking to the security guard? Don't we know that he's bad? And he is, right? Isn't that the security guard?
Wait, what?
From the first one who was in on it.
Was he in? Is he? I don't remember.
Ashley, quick, pop quiz.
Now, dang well that the only thing I know all the way down to a T is Chris Evans, okay? That is the only thing. But there was, I think it's because we meet a random character and they just show a tattoo for 2 seconds and it's oh yeah, they're in on it. And it's I'm not gonna remember these people. So, but I want to say no.
Okay.
And if it is a yes, then poor Mark has to do something because Steven cannot be trusted if he's hanging out with the security guard.
Yeah, I feel like the dude with the pamphlets was defo in on it, but the security guard wasn't. And I've got to say, I am such a stickler for things being done in public spaces and there being no security footage after, or that not being like there are so many supernatural and superhero shows where people will be out here doing crazy shit in grocery stores, shopping malls, on the street. I'm like, baby, we live in a surveillance state.
Yeah.
Come on. Like, I'm not even being that picky. It's like just the rules of the given world. So I did appreciate a little moment to be like, what was up with the surveillance? This is why. I'm like, all right, thank you.
Did you guys think I was like, oh, they doctored it? That's what I thought. Like, oh, they just doctored it to like take out the monster.
I think it's like supernatural is how I felt, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's then we learn that no one can see them except for, I guess it's like, do we get why? Is it like you have to be touched by one of the gods or something? I don't know.
It's just Khonshu, like Khonshu's the avatar, basically.
It's like Khonshu can knock over a bench. Can he hack a security system? What are the limitations of his power?
Like, he's got a guy.
Right. I definitely thought though I was on the same page with you, Ian, originally thinking because with the way Mark looked at the camera, I was like, oh, he's aware that there's security footage, obviously, and like he's about to do some shit. Like he's a tech guru on top of everything else. He's a mercenary, and he's in tech. But
he also pulled the Kristen Cinema. He went to the bathroom. He was like, "You can't film me here." Which was
oh my god!
He's a pro.
He knew exactly what he was doing.
Oh yeah.
Ashley, what were you saying?
I was just saying that I did originally think that Mark was the one who had like doctored the footage, knowing that like at this point Steven is just like, I need proof that I'm not freaking crazy, and Mark would just be like, yeah, you need to just roll with it because we're not about to have these strangers in on this.
That would make sense too, though, right?
So, well, kind of maybe we'll wait till we get deeper, but I do want to talk about Mark and Steven's relationship. Because it's, I'm somewhat confounded by it. Just a little bit of confoundment.
You know what? Let's go for it, because Ashley and I were talking about it before recording. Give us your monologue on their relationship.
It's not a monologue. It's more, I have questions. I've got a lot of questions. Like, I think they put a lot of, they're very antagonistic. Like, well, no, Steven sees Mark as being very antagonistic. I actually don't think he is particularly antagonistic. I found it to be very confusing as to why Steven was like, you're the worst.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. I mean, this is, and I don't want to get into a whole, I don't like Steven thing, because I do like Steven. I do. Please do not be in the TikTok comments coming for me.
He's great.
But like I say this to say that, his entire mentality, his mentality towards Mark was, you kill people, so you're bad. And it's like, hey, I don't know if you're paying attention, but there are people trying to kill you.
Right.
So maybe the guy who kills people ain't that bad if he's trying to keep you alive. And so it's like, I get, being scared that some part of you has this capability to do this thing. But it's also just like, this doesn't make sense. Like, you are, even if you think Mark is evil, you are clearly in the hands of people way more evil than him.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So I was a little, but then I'm like, okay, maybe this has to do with his like, anxiety and attitude toward this whole thing. I mean, I'm trying to be sympathetic to an extent of like, that's a lot to process. Hey, you're a mercenary. Hey, there's a God that's in your head and he's going to tell you what to do. And, I guess that would be a lot to process, but still, maybe let the mercenary kill people and then talk it out in the car.
Yeah, especially when it was like him and Layla in trouble. It's like, not only are you like being like, well, I would rather this monster eat me, but you're like, I would rather this monster eat me and her than let the guy who I know can fight everything take over.
Yeah. It was a little prolonged, I felt like. Like, to Ashley's point, I think all of those are valid perspectives on reasons for why Steven might be acting this way, but they didn't put it on the page, so to speak, right? They didn't give us enough, I think. And this is the one bone I have with this episode, like singular.
Yes. Yeah, no, I agree. And like Ashley and I were specifically talking about that before recording. So like, oh, are we going to be assholes if we say that it was kind of annoying us that he wouldn't?
No, don't worry. I'll do it.
I just to be devil's advocate here, I kind of, imagine you wake up and a man in a mirror with your face and using your face for documents is suddenly there. And it's, I I would definitely be a little skeptical, right? Because like from his perspective, I think he maybe thought he was possessed or it was like a demon at first or something like that. I think by like midway through this episode, if I got to the point where, you know, I was surrounded by a lot of folks with matching tattoos and surly looks on their faces and a man in a mirror was screaming at me, just give it up, I'd be like, babe, I know I'm not going to win. So like, this is our moment. But I understand Steven's prolonged skepticism as a rather nervous person myself. I could empathize.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair, but yeah, I guess I just go back to like, we already did this in episode 1 where like he saw and
Agreed.
like, you know, when Moon Knight took over, he got away from the monster, right?
Yep.
And like, I don't know. I guess also if we're going back to like the footage, maybe he's like, oh, am I just imagining it? I guess.
Yeah. I will say it's like, to me, still the murkiest element in this show right now. And I don't think I'm going to enjoy an explanation because I feel like we're going to dive into dissociative identity disorder and just sort of like all this like, but like I sort of, I don't want them to harp on it more because I feel like A, you are right. We did kind of establish it, and B, it still feels murky. Like I still don't quite understand the genesis of Steven. Like we've kind of established Mark was our home base maybe, or our beginning, and that Steven is an offshoot of Mark, but how or why or for how long is like still very up in the air for me. And maybe that's intentional narratively, but like
I think maybe that side of things, one, I wholeheartedly agree. I don't want like an excessive explanation behind it if they can't do it in a way that doesn't attach itself to any sort of diagnoses. But that side of it actually lends itself to, you know, Ian, you said at the top you actually were confused, right, when it came up and you're like, was this the same episode? Because I had the same feeling, which I think was very deliberate on their part, right? They are using camera tricks, they're using narrative tricks to put us in the position of also being confused and being a little distanced from what's going on, like Steven. And that to me is actually kind of working narratively. We'll see, of course, how it ends up playing out, but right now that confusion is working more than it's not.
Yeah, I will say that was the most thrilling part of episode 1 for me. Just like literally playing with these blackout moments. I was like, oh, this is a really bold narrative choice for a first episode. And that was really, really exciting for sure.
Yeah, especially considering that Mark Spector is technically I don't want to say dominant personality, because obviously whichever personality has like the control of the body is the one that's dominant at the time. But like he was born Mark Spector. I mean, we haven't been told that they're changing anything yet, but that's who he was before Stephen Grant became the personality. So it's like us being in, you know, Stephen Grant being I guess essentially the protagonist in terms of our viewpoint, when Mark Spector is, you know, the person who has the knowledge, or maybe more so the knowledge of who he was in a past life before Khonshu came along. It's a definitely interesting perspective to take from, even though it seems to be alluding that in episode 3, maybe we're getting the Mark Spector treatment, but I don't want to jump ahead. But like, I do think like that's a really interesting like first start to introduce us.
Yeah, I keep going back and forth because I know in the comics that Mark is the like dominant personality, and I'm wondering if they're going to change it, only because it feels like for Steven to be this confused consistently, I don't know, it feels like this feels like new to him. So I don't know, but then like, you know, Mark does have this whole life that we learned about. He has an ex-wife. I mean, clearly Mark was around for a while, I guess. And I mean, I think I said this in episode 1, Ashley, like when he's talking to his mom on the phone, I feel like it's not his mom. It's like,
I agree,
someone else, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Because
I will. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to make a really dumb joke. I was going to say, I'm Team Ashley. I don't think it's fair to call either of them dominant personalities. I think we should call them verse.
God, Gabe.
That's all. That's all. I had to weigh in, Ian. Simply had to.
God. Yeah, especially since Layla does say, oh, you're talking to your mom again? Like when he says something about his mom. And I was like, haha, that's kind of a clue.
It's Mephisto.
Don't even.
No. It's Cthulhu.
You were the first person to talk about that on the podcast during WandaVision. Everyone being like, you know what? She sold me. And then like 2 episodes later, I'm like, no one's saying that name again.
It's Ralph Boner. Whatever his name was. Jeez.
I can't. It makes me so angry.
I think this specifically came up in Moon Knight episode 1 too, didn't it? Actually,
I think so. Yeah. I think Mephisto isn't have. We have to now. This has to be a tradition. We have to make sure he comes up at least once in each.
At least, yeah. God, I couldn't even tell if it was a joke. I'm in like 1,000 Nightmare Facebook groups just to post like the podcast to be like, "Hey, Jeff, you want to check this out?" And I never read the comments because but like someone did. They were like, "Oh, do you think like?" Posted like a thread about like Mephisto possibly being in Multiverse of Madness, and I was like, "Why are we doing this?" Like, I cannot. So Mark gets fired from his job. I will say I was kind of like, oh man, I love like as someone who works a crappy retail job, I love seeing like a main character working like a, like crappier job like that. And I was like,
something regular that's not, billionaire philanthropist, genius.
Yes. Yes. I'm like, I too have worked in the gift shop of a museum and it sucks. So
don't worry, you got MJ at Peter Pan Donuts.
That's
right,
true.
Yes.
That is
true. That's what I have. That's my representation.
Oh no. Representation is important.
God. Yeah, when are we gonna get a like depressed bookstore gay? That's what I want in my superhero movies.
Bringing that strong class analysis to the MCU.
This is why we have to fight to make Peter Parker broke. Like, no, he's one of us. Don't have him being up under Tony Stark. He knows what it's like to be behind on rent.
Mm-hmm.
God.
Thank you.
So where are we, Ashley? He doesn't get fired, and then he goes. Okay, wait. I even have this in my notes. I meant to rewatch it. So he like has that very cute talk with the street performer, the guy that's dressed in all like gold. And I actually found it like I find their talks kind of cute. That like. This man is just like, I'm wondering if like we're gonna learn this man is a plant and actually watching him, or if he's like, who is this man that keeps coming up to me and telling me his life story when I am trying to work? Like, but I find it like cute, but I don't know. Someone tell me the leap from what he said to that man and then why he went to a storage unit. Like I was like, wait, how did we get here?
Oh, I think it basically was like he went to originally before he sat with the statue guy, he was in the museum and he was really banking on that footage to basically prove I'm not crazy. And there was no footage. And so he went, to his good friend who, shout out to friends who don't talk back to you, just and listen. But yeah, so he went to his friend and he's basically pondering on like, I need some like proof here. I'm going mad. And he had that key that he found in that little secret hidey hole in his apartment. And was like, maybe if I can find this storage closet, it'll have something there that proves I'm not insane. So that was why he got the bright idea to go and do that.
Okay, that makes more sense. I was like, I know that man didn't talk, so he didn't tell him go to a storage unit. So I was like wondering, Gabe.
Oh no, just agreeing, saying right. Yeah.
So again, we get like a little bit of like a horror thing here. Well, not yet. Okay.
Oh yeah.
First he goes in and Ashley, what does he find?
He finds first he went to a bunch of places and then somebody actually recognizes him because it's not really Steven that they recognize, but it's Mark because Mark goes there. He finds the room and he finds a bunch of weapons. He finds a fake, I shouldn't say a fake passport, it's a real passport, but it's Mark's passport. And it's basically, this, and then he also finds the,
Scarab.
It's not an amulet. Yeah, there we go. Scarab. And, of course there are plenty of mirrors here because I guess maybe Mark knew that he'd need to have a conversation with Steven. And this is basically the only way in which they can, I guess. But yeah, so he goes and he sees, this is basically like, Mark Spector's apartment. Like this is where he, this is where he goes to after Steven ties himself to the bed and believes he's safe for the night. This is clearly where Mark goes to, do his adventures.
Speaking of like security footage, though, I don't think you're allowed to live in storage closets. Like I don't
definitely not.
I don't think that is acceptable.
Would be amazing,
right?
You know what? It's funny because what I thought of when I first moved to New York. And I haven't ridden in a yellow cab in forever. when you know how they have like the TVs, there was like a TV segment, like news segment on a college kid who got caught living in a storage unit. And he like brought in his own hot plate, like, and I just remember thinking, but where does he go to the bathroom?
Right?
Right, same. I was just catching up on Atlanta, and it was the same with Donald Glover's character. He like gets caught living in a storage unit, and I'm like, where do you pee?
Yeah,
I feel like they probably go find the employees' restroom or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you make do. I honestly, look, if you were living in New York. I don't know if y'all seen New York rent lately, but I don't blame him. That $500 a month for a storage closet is probably bigger than what the apartments are. He's honestly on something.
Guaranteed.
He's on something.
Yeah, I had friends that moved like in the Midwest, and like I was like, oh God, that wouldn't even get like a closet in New York. Like, Jesus.
That's how much we paid for the bathroom. That's
God. I don't know if I've told the story in the podcast. I always think of this, that there was a guy, actually the first gentleman I ever went home with in New York. We got back to his place and I had to pee, and I saw that his shower stall was in his kitchen next to his sink.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, where's the bathroom? I really have to pee. And he was like, oh, it's out in the hallway. And like, he had a shared bathroom for the floor. And he was like, you save a lot on rent if you share a bathroom. And I just remember thinking, I could never do that.
You would be surprised. I felt like my first apartment in New York when I was interning, I shared it was like a 1-bedroom apartment with 2 of my friends who were brothers. 2 of us slept in the living room. The shower was in the kitchen, and the bathroom was in Kyle's bedroom, so that when he went to sleep, that was it. You were not able to use the bathroom.
Oh no. God.
But I paid like $300 a month, and I slept on like one of those floor futons. It was great.
Fair. Yeah. I just like this is where I'm a nana, Gabe. I get up to pee like 3 times during the middle. Like and I would be waking everyone up then in the apartment.
Well, you know who doesn't do that though? Mark Spector.
Right. Mark Spector clearly doesn't need that. So this is
leaves all the peeing to Stephen Grant. Yeah.
Oh, Stephen Grant pees like 47 times a day. You know it.
This is a Moon Knight real estate podcast. We are here to talk your favorite TV shows and rent.
Where do you listeners, let us know where you think Mark Spector goes to the bathroom.
I will say,
I'd like to know.
I will say, when I'm writing, there's a conscious part of me that is like, you do not need to mention them going to the bathroom. You don't. Nobody cares. People will just assume that they went to the bathroom.
Oh, see, I love that. As somebody who would definitely get the nervous shits in a battle type situation, I'm like, where's that character for me? You know what I mean? Like, he's skilled. He could get you out of a pinch, but first he's got to poop. Like, he has to.
Don't worry. The 3rd Spider-Man book, that's what we'll do. There will be a scene in there.
I'm Puerto Rican. I know Miles Morales is a little bit too. Maybe they can link up. Maybe it's a genetic thing. You know what I mean? Like, they can support each other through IBS. It could be powerful.
Gabe, that's funny. One of my managers at work, her wife is Puerto Rican, and her daughter, like, she carried her daughter, and she was like, oh, my daughter uses so much toilet paper. She was like, why do you Puerto Ricans shit so much? And I was like, you know what? You're right. I can't even get mad.
Oh my God.
We don't have the best diets, you know.
Look, it's how our skin stays fresh. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
The toxic stuff isn't even in there long enough to... Anyway, wow.
Actually, this is your job. Just back on track.
Right. So, Mark Spector, he used the bathroom, and then moving on, we not me still thinking about the man going to the bathroom. I know. But yeah, so him and Steven have this whole conversation via the mirrors, and Steven's like, you know what? I'm going to take this suitcase. I'm going to go to the authorities, which this is how you know he was in America, because that's the last thing my ass would have done. But he's like, I'm going to the authorities. I'm waiting for him to put me up in drugs until I forget that you exist. And then when he gets outside, you know, Khonshu was like, oh no, this man is about to fuck up everything. And that's when we get real Halloween-y. Yeah. And, you know, Khonshu's doing what Khonshu does. He's like, I can't stand, you know, he's making it very clear that Steven is not the favorite child. Yeah. And, you know, this is where, I mean, it's funny. I didn't pick up on how little, like, outside of the powers that he gives Mark that he can really do. Because like later on in the show, when Arthur comes in and reveals that he was actually the first avatar for Khonshu, and he reveals, you know, when Khonshu's losing his shit, he's making things topple over, and Arthur's like, that's all he can do. But I'm like, what we see from Steven in that scene is that was enough, because he starts running around the storage locker batshit crazy until he runs into Layla on her bike.
Well, and I liked the scene. It felt, again, reminded me of the elevator scene from the first episode, which is very like, I mean, not like scary horror movie, but very like horror movie-esque, right?
It was really scary. I hate horror movies.
Okay, so it did work on you as like a little bit of like a thrilling scariness.
Yes.
Okay. It's funny because I had asked the author Samira Ahmed if she wanted to come on to talk Moon Knight, and she actually said, I think it might be a little bit too scary.
Oh.
And I was like, that's fair. It does have like, they like definitely use horror elements.
They do. And that was like, that. This is my representation. Steven screaming, running out of into the daylight.
I did like Layla. I did think, I was like, wait a minute, come on, that he like happens to run directly into her. But I'm just being nitpicky, right?
Well, I will say, and I think someone brought it up about how like they are actually trying to find like ways, especially in the time that we live in, to show little things. Like she does reveal that she came because he turned on his phone. And that was how, you know, she thought that she took that as a sign of come find me. And I like appreciate little stuff like that, because you do sit there asking like, now how the hell did she just randomly pop up in front of the building? How she knew where he was, you know?
You're right. She does specifically say he had the tracker or whatever. So that's fair.
She's a smart, resourceful gal. She's giving me Rachel Weisz in the original Mummy.
Ooh, yeah.
Just like those are the vibes.
Yeah.
I was thrilled when Layla made an entrance. I was like, this is the character I want. Although I will say, it's like, I don't know anyone in the world who would refer to adventures they've had with someone else as adventures. Like, I feel like there was a moment she was like, all the adventures we had. And I was like, who says that?
Yeah.
But besides that, really just impeccable person and character for me. Like, rooting for her.
I really liked when they were on her motorcycle and she was like, stop clutching my shoulders. It feels like I'm riding with a Victorian Duchess. I thought that was really
funny.
Good.
So good.
And I like the way they shot those scenes, like the way we would see her face, but the like from Steven's point of view, where it was like in the side mirror. I like that.
Yeah.
And you know, they get back to the place. We learn that she is his ex-wife, soon to be ex-wife / wife. She says like, that's not okay. I'm still your wife. And he's like, did you say wife? And like, she even says like the fake accent, like she like says that's what it is. Yeah, I liked her. And my notes here are like, Steven is very bad at communicating. Like I felt like he needed to just like sit with her and be like, okay, let's talk. This is what's going on. I found that phone. You know, the guy keeps talking to me that you were looking for. And like, you know, even when talking to Mark, I'm like, just fucking communicate better. I
feel like she should have had more questions, actually.
Right. Yes.
Right? Like, I feel like, one, if she was clearly with, like, to your point, long enough with Mark that they got married, that they had all of these, quote, adventures, but not long enough to ever find out that he had, like, this other identity of Steven or whomever else, because he's, like, clearly is like, who are you? I'm not, like, what is happening? And she's just like, you're acting so funny. It's like, what?
Yeah, no, I did, because even if, I mean, we are aware that this is an actual like disorder, but like at most, if I haven't heard from you in a period of time, and on top of that, you're my spouse, I'm gonna be like, he got hurt and he's lost and he went and he got himself an apartment, because like I would genuinely believe like something has gone left, and she was just like, what? Maybe we'll get into this in the next episode, because like, what was the status of your relationship that your man leaving 4 months on in was just like completely normal, and that when you find him, you think he would play an act and that there wouldn't be something like happening?
Right.
Like if one of you suddenly started doing a British accent, it'd be like, no, we need to talk about what the fuck you're doing.
You what?
Like,
I'm sorry, Laters Gators was a cry for help. That's a red flag.
I found that very endearing. I don't know. I was like, oh, that's so cute.
I'm so sorry to the good people of the UK. I know you guys are just ready to pat your head in.
I mean, I showed Ashley, there was someone who followed Slayerfest just to say the reason you think his accent isn't great is because it's so good. And I was like, I don't know that that's how that works, but
First of all, I have firsthand knowledge, okay, because I went to the UK for 2 whole days. So I know. And I was an avid Harry Potter fan. So, I'm very much in the know about this. No, but seriously, there are some UK like content creators in this who have been very vocal about the fact that like, this is not it. But again, as I said in the first one, I think that's on purpose.
Yes.
But still,
right.
they you can go talk to the good people who are from there. They will let you know, like, this is not it. Okay. It's not, we're not being biased here. If I was going to be biased, I would say everything Oscar Isaacs does is great. So,
It did feel a little bit like they were playing like UK slang. Let's make it all fit. It was like, isn't it, bruv?
When he said bruv, I loved
no, but
it.
it's like, yeah, like it's.
Okay.
But he does sell it because of his charm, right? Like,
yes.
Yeah. But okay, so where? Oh, right. He's in there with her. He's about to show her the scarab, and Mark is like, "Do not! She could get killed." Blah blah blah. And then he's just kind of like, "Oh, there was nothing I was going to show you." She like shoves him out of the way and finds it, which I liked.
I love it. This was a great scene, I thought, because Steven is just so bad at everything.
Yes.
And it was just, I was like, what are you doing?
Like, you're digging in a bag, and then you're like, oh no, nothing.
I was like, oh, you're a disaster. I
Yeah,
get it.
Be like, well, if you say that we shouldn't look in the bag, like, hello, sir.
Yeah. Like, I feel like you could have just been like, oh, look at all this money I found, because there was a shit ton of like
right?
money. So like that could have been your lie rather than
nope.
Oh, it's nothing. Never mind. So then these police officers are knocking at the door. He lets them in because they force themselves in. And even with them, I'm like, get out. Like, they are clearly like bad.
So shady.
I
like that Layla was immediately already like, she had it and she was out on the roof.
Immediately no. She's out the window. She said, I've seen what I needed to see. I'd love to be a good character with some common sense. I don't even care if you can fight, but please, if a human being was in this situation, like they just bum rushed into the room, I would literally be like, I have to go to the bathroom, and it would never ever see me again. You got to be kidding me.
Literally a Later's Gators moment. Just would be out of there.
So then they say that they're arresting him, they're taking him down, but they, of course, when he's in the car, I was like, he needs to stop talking so much. Like, what is he doing? That was when I started to like get a little annoyed with him.
Yeah, I agree.
Because like then they leave him in the car, and Mark is like, "Let me I can help." And it's like, dude, what are you doing? Why? Just let him. You're not getting out of this. He saved you last time. And like, I don't know. I felt like at this point, right? Like, just be like,
agree.
Okay, fine.
Wholeheartedly.
I feel like a better. No, you go.
Oh no, sorry. In defense of Steven again, I just think it's funny how we're focusing on all his bumbling moments, but we did not have a moment to revisit his beautiful recitation of French poetry. That is the one moment. She picked up that book and he's like, "There's something I can do." It was great. It was beautiful. But but in the car, truly, it is not his moment. It is time for him to go to sleep.
This is where you're like, why did you? It was like this was a writing moment that I was like, you guys just couldn't let it happen. You knew that you needed this scene. You knew you needed to get there, but they didn't lay the foundation enough, I think, of having him truly be afraid of Mark Spector. They needed something to make him fear him, and they didn't do it.
Or I would have even went for a like, he's so nervous plot line that he can't initiate, Mark or something like that, because this isn't making sense. Like, as you already said, like, don't get me wrong. Yeah, Mark definitely comes off as menacing, but like, does he come across as scarier than the people who are clearly taking you to your death? I don't know. And it's just like,
but he is like,
it's we all play, like, it's just a game of what's worse. And it's like, no matter how he's feeling in this moment, you're up against the wall. You have no idea what's going on. Like, and these voices are clearly trying to protect you. They really did not do a good job with, and as you said, it's clear, like, what we saw from the first episode is, you know, he dozes off, Mark takes over and gets him out of any situation that he ends up in, and they can't have that because we need to hear a little bit more from Arthur and them. But like that was not, it did make, and I don't think Steven necessarily is annoying, like he's not supposed to be, but it's just like, you can't have these moments where, hey, you have a whole side of yourself that can beat these people's ass, and then you're not properly writing him to make us understand why he wouldn't do that.
Yeah. I
agreed.
See, I don't know. I think that until he meets Harrow, I understand his skepticism. Because, like, this alternate personality is the reason he woke up in another country with his jaw dislocated. Like, literally, like, blacking out in the middle of, like, that truck driving last episode. Like, I think a lot of horrifying things have happened to him. And I understand his impetus to be like, okay, if I just go to the authorities, like, those people with guns can deal with it. And I don't have to be, like, covered by logs and then, like, wake up in my apartment the next morning. Like, I think there's a level of him that thinks that he maybe is imagining it, or something fucked up is happening that's, like, kind of out of his control, but couldn't possibly be what it is, right? I think once he meets Harrow, that's when, like, the reality of the magic and the rules kind of set in, and he's like, okay, this is all right.
I feel like I would have bought that if they hadn't shown us, one, the shot of him looking at the security camera and saying, that's not me. And two, the conversation in the storage locker. Those 2 points, I think, counteract this notion of that he doesn't quite think it's real. I think he thinks it's real, especially after running into Layla, finding the scarab, like all those pieces set up. I agree with you that there is definitely fear and anxiety there.
Yeah.
Like 100%. That is where his decision-making process is coming from. I just don't know that they did enough to balance it, like, vocally in the text. You know what I mean? Like, literally giving us those moments of him being like, I can't do this because I am afraid of what happened to me.
Yeah. That, because I was going back and forth with that too, Gabe, where I was like, well, at first I was like, well, he just doesn't think it's real. But, like, I feel like once he sees a scarab and Layla, like, it's real, right? Like, I just, I don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
And yeah, in the car, I was just, it was just driving me nuts. Like, I was yelling at my screen, being like, Joss, let him take over, God.
Oscar Isaac, why are you so hot and wrong?
Yeah. Hot and wrong. So then, I have him in my notes as Ethan Hawke comes in, but clearly that's not, what's his name?
It's Arthur, right?
Arthur,
Yeah,
you're right.
Arthur Harrow.
Harrow. He kind of shows him around his cult / compound. I gotta say, for like 2 seconds, he almost had me sold.
Same.
I'm like, oh, good. So we're both suckers for a cult.
I was like, I would join this.
I mean, you know, it speaks to the society in which we live in, where once you say free food and free rent, we're like, hey, you know, tell me more.
Right.
Tell me more. I mean, do I have to do the murder? Because if you're taking that over, you know, yourself, then I can just mind my business at home. And,
Right. Like,
true.
We just sit at home watching our Marvel shows while they do whatever.
Okay. Like, listen. Okay.
I can grow tomatoes, maybe.
I probably can't, but I could try.
I know, right? I can't.
I will do my best.
I am judged by my peers and the internet every day. I could be judged by an Egyptian deity for some food. Like, we'll be fine.
Like, are you sure you want to wear
that? Right? Yeah.
So he gives him, like, all of his points. He like, what is it that, like, makes Steven? I forget what it is that he says that, like, is like
child murder,
it's because the Minority Report of it.
It is, yeah.
Oh, right, because he specifically brings up right. And that's when, like, Steven starts to get a little bit more bold.
Well, wait. We also find out here, this is where we find out that Harrow was Khonshu's first avatar, right?
Yeah, I didn't pick up on this. I totally missed this until folks started talking about it.
Oh, really?
Was I, like, out of it? Did I totally
I think maybe you missed, like, a line of dialogue, because he says...
It was just, it was a lot of dialogue happening, wasn't it?
But it was very quiet.
Yeah.
Like, Ethan Hawke's a very quiet speaker. I watch everything with subtitles.
Me too.
I
Me
do
too.
too. I do too. If
Yeah.
I don't have subtitles, please don't ask me what happened in the show. I don't know.
Ditto.
Yeah. But whenever I'm watching TV where they don't have, I'm like, oh God, how am I supposed to know what they're saying? Is if
It's
like,
like why screeners are the worst. You're like, I don't know what's happening.
well, I wouldn't know that burden. But yeah, no. So he does say that, and then like, Ashley, then like, well,
He
I
said,
forget.
so Arthur, basically, Arthur is first, Arthur kind of really is able to persuade him through the fact that because he was Khonshu's first avatar, he knows like you don't have to
Right.
listen to him. Yeah, he's gonna cause a scene. He causes temper tantrum. I think he actually at one point like referred to him as like a child or a toddler or something like that.
Yeah.
But basically that outside of the voice in your head and blowing some wind in your face, there's nothing that he can do. And I think that makes Steven feel a little bit better of like, oh, he can't hurt me, he can't kill me.
Yeah.
And so, we move in more to the cult. He sees how the cult's operating. But when Arthur gets into the story about his god, who has given him powers,
Right.
And the fact that, she operates differently from Khonshu, who waits until people have done wrong, she's like, fuck that. I can see you're going to do something wrong in 2025. So let's get this shit out the way now. He's like, wait, doesn't that mean that, if a little kid is going to do something wrong when they hit 30, y'all are going to kill him? He's really focused on like the kid aspects, which I get it. But yeah, once Steven's able to put two and two together of like, if this is how you operate, then you are technically murdering innocent people who, you're not even giving them a chance to decide to do right. That is when he realizes, oh, I am in a really, really bad situation. And then right in the nick of time is when Layla comes in because Arthur's asking for the, why do I keep calling this shit an amulet? Was that thing in the mummy? Yeah, was it called an amulet in the mummy?
Yeah,
the things that they were chasing after.
I don't remember.
I don't know. It gives me. I don't know. I keep Brendan Fraser's face just keeps popping up in my head for some reason with this whole thing. But like, yeah,
it's always an amulet.
Say, this is where the show goes full mummy. The shaking ground. We're running through some tombs.
He's calling stuff up from the ground. But yeah, Layla comes in with the scarab, and
oh right, because she's like summon the suit, and he's like, right.
Did that feel silly to anyone else when she came in with the scarab? I was like, why did you bring that
they
with
revealed
you?
her to have so much.
Why would you give it away? Yeah.
You've had so much common sense up to this point. Why would you do that? Although to be fair, I think she's thinking he can just go full on, assassin mode.
Right.
Like they're protected. Yeah. If she had known that this man is completely helpless, maybe she would have kept it in her pocket. But
or just like put it in a lockbox. Like I don't know.
Something. We got to come up with something.
The trunk of her cute little moped.
Back in the like storage area.
Yeah.
But I mean, I do think it was like she just figured, oh, well, he'll turn into Moon Knight and we will get out and it'll be fine because he can beat the shit out of all these people. Right.
Yes.
But again, yeah, maybe better safe than sorry to like leave it at home, even if like, okay, you're gonna go save him, but just the thing I did want to point out, I do love that Khonshu is like brutal when he's like, break his windpipe when he's like looking at him. It's like, holy shit.
F. Murray Abraham coming in, man, is so good.
It's so good. He's literally like us. Like screaming from like the other side of the TV, like, what do you beat his ass? Beat his ass.
And I just like how brutal he's like, kill him. And it's just like, it's not like, oh, get away. It's like, no, murder this person.
Right? Yeah, it was the break his windpipe or whatever. That was really good.
It was good. Yeah.
But okay, so they run away, and then Arthur does his thing with his what does he call it? That he calls something. She's like, what?
It's like a thing.
Yeah, but he calls it something, doesn't he?
Yeah, I've forgotten.
Yeah. So he uses that, like, summons a thing. I love that Layla could fight, even though she doesn't have powers. I like that she could, like, fight.
Yes.
Because, like, Marvel, although they've gotten better, but, like, I feel like at first, a lot of the, like, quote-unquote, like, girlfriend or wife roles, they mostly, like, didn't fight, right? Like, it would mostly...
Say her name,
I know
Pepper Potts.
Pepper. I love her, but...
Say her name. Stop.
I mean, she came through in the end.
She did, yes.
She did. It only took like
20 years.
To all of them. And then they did the same thing with Jane Foster, which is, I believe, was always alluded to one of the reasons why Natalie Portman wasn't down with it. But like,
yeah.
She was just the brains. Like, and apparently, if you're smart, then being able to just smack somebody upside the head is completely beyond your capabilities.
Right.
But yeah, they have done that a lot with a lot of the love interest / just female characters in general that we've been introduced to outside of like Black Widow.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it was like nice, like, okay, cool. She doesn't have powers, but she can still like beat up these guys. Like when she throws them over the balcony onto the like other wooden roof and onto whatever that collapses. I like that.
And that Khonshu is like, she'd be good at
yeah,
this.
right.
Like I like that to me is like, ooh, what is her like layer of allure and mystery there? I'm very interested in knowing.
And so then we find out that's how he summons the, do they have a name? The like hellhound.
The jackal.
Things? Jackal, yes.
The jackal.
My Buffy brain is like hellhound. That's what it is. Yeah. So they like lock themselves in this room. Mark is like, let me out. And I truly am like, there is a monster on the other side of this door. And that Mark beat the shit out of that monster last time. So like, do it.
Right.
Like, I'm all for the anxiety attack when you have no options and it's like, oh shit.
Right.
But like, there is a person living in your head who is a professional fighter. He is experienced in many a thing. Let's let him show us what some more of it maybe. But yeah, no, it was definitely, and I can also feel Layla's stress like in her voice. Like, are you dead ass with me right now? You brought me into a room with no exits and
like, are you really, where's the I really wish this would have been, given what happens in a few minutes, this would have been the point had they been building for him to be like, no, I can do it, right?
Yeah.
Given how the trajectory goes.
Yeah. And like, I don't know why we didn't. Yeah, we needed something like that, but she gives him his moment. She's like, "You can do this," and then he's like, "I can't."
And she's like, "Fine."
Yeah. The monster bursts through, knocks him out the window. I did think this was cool. What?
No, that hit when he hits his head against that pole. I was like, Titanic flashbacks.
I love that he literally like stumbled and fell into it. And then, like, the way he gave us the, like, little wobbly Black Widow upon landing was so funny to me.
Yeah, I love that he hits the landing, but then falls over.
Yeah, you just get the wobbly arm and the entire body. I was like, this is very physical.
Oh, it's so good. And then that, like, Peaky Blinders suit. Into it.
It looked cute, right? I was like, he does look good.
I'm going to be honest with you. That was, like, when the posters for the show came out, that was my favorite. And I was, like, so shocked that personality-wise, this is Stephen Grant's, suit. Because, like, the poster for it was given very much I'm your daddy vibes. And, which... It could be foreshadowing of when, Stephen maybe becomes more confident and things like that.
Yeah.
But, I didn't see that. I know, like, people have already been calling him Mr. Knight from the comics because that's what the suit was. But they technically haven't called him that in the show yet. So, but again, that could be alluding to what the moniker Stephen himself maybe decides to pick up.
Yeah.
But I didn't see it coming, giving, he literally was having a panic attack in the room 2 minutes ago. But also, important note that we almost skipped over, we did mention it earlier, but the monster is invisible to Layla and not to Stephen. They haven't really given us any evidence of whether this is would Arthur's minions be able to see it, or is it strictly like only people who have a relationship with a god can see it? So only Arthur and Stephen and the many other personalities. Like, how is that developed? But what we do know is Layla can't see shit.
Yeah.
But she can still very much get hurt by them.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, so then after he lands, I actually was like, okay, this is cute when he's like, I forget what he says that
what does he say? He's like, he does the Muhammad Ali thing, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. Yes. My name is Stephen with a V.
So good.
I love you.
So I mean, to your point, Ashley, I'm wondering if they're going to have him, which I would love, get a little bit more confident. Like Stephen becomes, because he put up a fight. He didn't do great, but he was able to like not
He got some
die.
hits in. He got some hits in.
Yeah, and like when he's like looking in the reflection and he's like, "Ooh, this looks good," and he's like, "Where's the scarab?" Well, I have these things. Like I was very charmed by all that, and
When I ask a question very quickly, there is a shot, and I don't know if anyone else noticed it, but there is a shot where he gets slammed up against a car, and it was just his butt in the window.
It is all I've been able to think about, because not only is there a shot of just his butt, they cut back to it later. It is this shot and a shot at the very end of the episode are the only two I screenshotted, and I just tweeted, I love the cinematography in Moon Knight. Because, baby, it is ass up against the window. I'm like, this is the point of view I want in this battle.
Like, am I watching Nightwing? Like, what happened?
Yes! I love that you got closer to your mic for this, because I could see you louder.
I am so serious about this.
I'm so glad.
This is all I wanted.
I was like, oh, yeah, awesome.
Like,
but why?
Yes. Why not?
Fair.
But right before that, I did want to point out, I love when Mark calls him Psycho Colonel Sanders because he hates the suit.
Oh, yeah, because he hates the
suit.
Which I'm wondering...
Mark is wrong, by the way.
No, yeah, Mark is wrong.
Incorrect.
I'm sorry. I think Mark is jealous.
Now we're Team Steven. But like... I'm wondering, I was actually thinking that suit would be like, maybe we saw it once or twice, not like, I didn't think it would be this, like, I didn't think we would see it already.
I don't know, we still have to get that 8 Mile suit, don't we?
See, that's what I was actually thinking about. So, like, did all those posters represent, I just made a post about this on TikTok as well, like, did all those posters represent a different personality? Well, we kind of picked up on that, that it would be different personalities, but like, so does that mean that we have the Mark Spector poster down, we have the now Stephen Grant in his daddy suit down, so like, is it that final 8 Mile poster where it's like there's another personality? And I know if you read the comics, you know of a few and probably know which one it mostly is going to be, but like,
wait, I thought it was just like, because he has his hood up in the first episode when he's in that crowd. I thought it was just that.
Yeah, it might be that. I don't know.
It could be. That's what I thought at first, but then I'm like, different personalities. I mean, so far, I don't know. That's just, I mean, other than that, then that means that the only two are no, because it could just be that they're not giving us posters for anything. I don't know. It's just like, because that face that he gives in that poster isn't given, it kind of is given Mark, but like.
I think it's giving Mark. I think.
Okay.
But.
It is giving Mark. It's still confusing.
Yeah,
I'm looking at the poster now, and it's like three. It's giving like three facets of this person.
But it is the two behind him, which are distinct and separate, and then the one in the middle, which is both, right?
Yeah, that's
right. But then they rotate them on the different
do.
Posters too.
I think that's what I was thinking. That it's just like, but I actually was thinking that Mr. Knight would also be different. Like I thought it'd be like he puts on that costume and he is someone different. I think is what I was thinking. I don't know.
I think it's who Steven wants to be.
Yeah, I can see that. So then, like, when he's fighting, another thing I liked is that Layla also, like, she can't see it, but she's like, all right, I'm going to help. And she, like, throws a bottle of water at it so she can see it.
And,
which
like, stabs it with the broken bottle. I was like, that's awesome.
I was, like, very worried for her since she is, like, just a regular human. I was like, oh,
well, this is like... when I was, like, screaming at Steven, was like, let Mark fight him.
Right?
I was like, this demon's gonna kill both of you before you let him take over. Like, just do it. And like,
I am not pulling over for directions.
It really was the energy. So when they're fighting, I learned this from Brett White's article. He's a regular on the podcast, and he always writes like things you might have missed. When he gets thrown into the like bus, the like banner or billboard on the bus is for the thing that's the group that was mentioned in Falcon Winter Soldier that like helps people that were displaced when they came back from the snap. So it's like the first actual tie to the MCU that we've gotten.
And then, like, I think the motto on it, too, is, like, reuniting with your better half or something like that. It's also, like, cheeky. It's like, see, it's in the theme of the show, but it's in this universe. I was like, all right, you know we're going to pour over this detail for months. It's going to be great.
It was Mephisto.
Man, I'm gonna have like a bleep every time you say that.
Really sorry, Preeti's not coming on the show ever again.
I like that we got these like two older ladies that just called him a fancy drunk. Thought that was cute. They both get hit by this fucking car, and then fucking finally he's like, all right. And he lets Mark take over, which I was like, oh, God.
Which was awesome.
Yeah, it looked cool.
Yeah.
The monster didn't always land for me. It looked a little CGI, but the like Mark in his Moon Knight outfit looked fucking cool. I thought
some of the movement I feel like was strange. Like some of the like when he I don't know when this was filmed actually.
Right, that's what I was wondering. Is it like because of COVID? But I don't think so.
I don't know. I blame everything on COVID.
I know, yeah. Gabe, as the resident actor, what do you think?
Right?
Oh, well, obviously, Oscar Isaac is a thespian of the highest order. I do, okay, like sometimes I think, using accents to distinguish different, I think it's working. I really like it. I think there's a distinctive physicality to both characters, and I love the transition of Moon Knight because it's just like that sequence where he's just like running on the rooftops and you get the reflection. It's just gorgeous. It's like beautiful. It is so evocative of like the comics I read growing up and loved, but like also felt so cinematic. And then obviously the like jackal landing at the end of that moment when he like lures it off the roof and just impales it on a spike. I was like, that's where we got proper horror movie. I was like, I was getting like hints of, definitely Buffy vampire vibes.
I'm glad you said that, Gabe, because I'm like, I can't bring up Buffy again.
No, but like truly, obviously, it's like I know I'm referencing like the Mummy and Buffy.
Accurate,
like you could tell exactly how old I am. I know, yeah, but it was just like I don't know. It was a really beautiful switch, and I love how the suit kind of like defies gravity, but also feels so fluid. There's just something really like lovely about it. I don't know. I'm really excited to see Oscar Isaac in less clothes and speaking different languages.
That end scene, man.
The only thing that's missing.
Wait. But we're not there yet because I do want to talk about.
We got excited.
I understand. Listen,
you know what we're here for.
I do want to talk about their fight that they have.
Because
again, I kept thinking like I feel like I reference Lost a lot, and I reference it usually in negative ways, even though I love the show. But like an issue I always had with it was like if like one of you would just explain what's going on to the other one, you wouldn't have like as many problems as you have, and it felt like Mark was being a little shitty to Steven, and Steven was like refusing to relent at all. And it's like, dude, you're stuck. Maybe don't like poke the bear.
But this was the moment it felt like it almost worked for me because it started with Steven being like, is this what this feels like?
Okay.
Right? It gives us that context immediately of he is in a situation in which he can barely function. He's lost what little control he had. Like we know Steven has this life of like no control where he's consistently confused. And now he's lost even that. And this person in front of him who he like doesn't recognize and is using his face is like, absolutely not. Like I just have to do this thing. And to your point, like does not explain the thing. Like Steven in this moment, I believe and like wholeheartedly agree with kind of.
I like that we all keep switching sides like every 10 minutes.
I do wonder, why do we think that Steven is now like conscious, it being the sub in the personality? Because previously he would just black out, right? He would have no conscious
that's what Mark says, right? He says he isn't sure why the wall is breaking. He was like, there used to be a wall between us and now it's broken down. Then it's like, for some reason, asterisk. Like
Right. Do we think it's like Steven, because this is Steven making the conscious choice to turn it over to Mark for the first time. Like, I'm wondering if it's something internal or if it's something literally like more mystical and Khonshu related. But yeah, it's just odd that like that moment of like, I don't know, kind of handing it over consciously was maybe
Steven
part of what broke
suit,
it. I'm not sure.
Right. He's never worn the suit.
True.
I wonder if that's what it is. It's that suit allowed for a barrier, but now that they've both worn it, that barrier is disintegrated.
But I mean, it was before that though, right?
Well, between Mark and Steven, it was before that, but we've seen that before at least.
True. Yeah. Huh. Yeah, I wonder. But I, like you said, asterisk, I'm sure that we will like get there in the like course of the show.
For sure,
but yeah, so, Mark smashes the mirror where we can see him. We learn he's lost the scarab. Layla on her bike watches as a homeless man finds it, and like Arthur kills the man and takes it. And then, Gabe, what's our little epilogue?
Ooh, buddy.
Our epilogue is the best time jump that has ever happened on the show. Some of the first time jumps were traumatizing. Seeing that dislocated jaw was a lot for me. But this time jump, baby, we are in a different country. We are in a different place. There's a warm tile, and upon that warm tile is draped the body of Oscar Isaac, wearing nothing but a pair of tight black briefs, drinking some sort of alcohol with his arm gently draped along his thighs. He looks wistfully out the window, takes one last swig, stands up, walks up to the window as the camera very generously follows him there, giving us an ample view of his backside. And Oscar Isaac, playing the role of Mark Spector, indeed throws the blinds at the window open to reveal the Egyptian pyramid.
Like the audiobook coming through.
Like, oh, Jesus.
When I'm telling you I'm eating with this TV show. I'm well
I will
fed.
say to your point, Gabe, this is what I think where the physicality, both visibly and literally his movement, like really came to play. Because I was like, that is a different person. That is a different man than who we have been following for 2 episodes. It was wild.
Yeah. Yes, I'm still fanning myself from Gabe's
my face is so red.
I think this is the first time someone's made me blush on this podcast.
My goodness.
Jesus.
But we're not even on video, man. All right.
You know, when you make your social cuts, you got it. That's it right there, right? You know, you just gotta
just post that with Gabe doing that reading.
That's it.
I just what you all don't know is that I actually did punch-ups on the script and I wrote that scene, so I just read it straight from the document.
Yes, and also we do see Steven is like crying in the mirror
with his like shawl of a sheet over his shoulders, little baby.
He does. He hates
it.
Naked. All right. Now we're at the end. That's the end of the episode. We get little like cliffhanger. He's in Egypt. Ashley, what was your favorite scene?
Well, I mean, I feel like I have to come up with something that's not true now.
No, just say the truth and we'll all agree.
Speak your truth.
I mean, look, Marvel, if you want to make a top 10 show, not even top, you want to make the best show in the world, I feel like maybe you should just make sure you always have a scene where Oscar Isaac is as close to naked as possible and laying on the floor. And just let's see him walk.
God, give us a fight scene of him dressed like that. Oof.
Exactly. No, but let's see now I need that. Now it's like I actually
Listen,
need that.
Just put Oscar Isaac in The Witcher, put it in the bath scenes.
God.
I did also enjoy finally seeing the suit because that poster when it came out, I was very much, I'm looking forward to that Steven that was in that photo because he something happens to get him there. But I would have to say that visually, I don't need the sound on. I could just watch them the last 2 minutes of the show.
The rest of the show is just him like lounging in that like apartment hotel in his underwear.
He fought with Ethan Hawke. I remember that. But if we could just get to that part, I feel like that was the plot right there.
Preeti, what was your favorite scene?
I actually think it was also the Peaky Blinders suit. I thought that was such a delightful way to introduce Steven in a new light and give us some levity while still like hyping up that anxiety and stress as a viewer. I really, really loved it. Honorable mention to the final scene, obviously.
Yeah. Gabe?
I enjoyed Arthur Harrow thanking random extras as he was giving Steven a tour. That was the dumbest part of the show for me. Not to be reductive, but okay. Obviously, the final scene I'm a sucker for the reasons I stated. I also really enjoyed Layla's introduction because it was nice to kind of get an outside character who maybe had some information to offer and kind of help ground Steven in something else. And again, she's a little breath of fresh air in the show. But the last scene and the little wobble after the fall and the Colonel Sanders suit are really definitely the high points. of this episode.
I think this is cheating almost, but like the prolonged 20-minute thing with the hound, with the jackal, I just liked all of it. I liked him getting into the suit. I liked Layla putting herself into the fray, knowing to stab the fucking monster. I thought it was a very good action scene. And yeah, of course, honorable mention to him in his underwear. But I gotta say, it's funny because like I don't care that much, but like that was the only thing. I haven't seen people talking about Moon Knight as much online. That scene, however, I saw on Twitter at 9 a.m. Wednesday morning. And you know what? Fair. I get it. But I kept thinking like, oh, was that not from Moon Knight? Like, it's not till the last like 2 minutes. So I was like, oh, is that from something else? I thought that was Moon Knight. And then we got there. So thank you. Thank you, Marvel, for that. What grade do we give the episode, Gabe?
I'm going to be very generous. I'm still not entirely sure where we're headed, but I'm encouraged by the direction we're going. I'll give it an A-.
I give it an A. I thought it was a really strong episode, barring the sort of motivations for the Mark and Steven relationship. Aside from that, I think it was very, very strong and intriguing.
All right, Ashley?
Yeah, I think I would go with A-. Definitely, like I think I told you this at the beginning of the episode, maybe before we start recording, about like the first time we recorded, I was really nervous about like, okay, we have this we're getting all of this from Steven. What's going on? Are they gonna be able to do this in what is it, 6 episodes?
Right. Yeah.
I do feel confident that within the next 4 episodes, given the pacing of this one, that they can deliver. So I'm feeling a lot more confident.
Yeah. I'm going to go with a B+, just because the Steven Mark back and forth was driving me nuts.
Fair.
But I did really like this episode. And yeah, I definitely we moved along. I mean, we made it to Egypt, right? At the end of the episode. So we're clearly moving, which makes me happy. We're not just like circling the drain of like them bickering. It's like, nope, we did the thing. And I feel like, of course, they're not like happy with each other, but like we got past the like, will we be seeing Moon Knight? It's like, yes, we got Moon Knight out there. They both have their own Moon Knights. And I'm like, we have another character, Layla. And so I'm feeling better about it. I did like the first episode. I just felt a little like, thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Ashley, for co-hosting again. Thank you all for listening. If you like Slayerfest 98, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, anywhere else you get your podcasts. You can support us on Patreon, where I just added a Discord server. I have a bunch of channels to talk about Moon Knight and Marvel and Buffy and everything else nerdy. And if you want to follow us on social, we are at SlayerFestX98. I am at Ian X Carlos. Ashley, where can everyone find you?
Ashley K. Smalls, Twitter, TikTok, technically Instagram, but I never post there. And I do have a blog, brooklynblurred.com.
And Preeti?
You can find me on basically everything at Run with Skizzers, Skizzers. And please pre-order Spider-Man Social Dilemma. It comes out July 2022, and it is available for pre-order right now.
Yes. And Gabe, where can everyone find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram using the handle Gaybones, GAYBONEZ, or visit my website, gabeis.gay.
That's a good.
It's a real URL. I promise.
That's a good address.
I paid for it.
It was very good.
I fucking love it. It's my favorite. It's precisely what a bunch of high schoolers I went to school with left on my front lawn, and now it's my website. So. That's very lovely.
Thank you all, and we'll see you next time. Bye.